Hey! Welcome to Rollin With Bolen with me, Tim Bolen. Listen, my gig takes me all across Ontario and beyond, and the best part is, you get to come along for the ride. On this episode, we explore the world via planes, trains, and automobiles. We're going north, we're going south, and everywhere in between, and it starts right now. Welcome inside a gem in this region and a spot that we never get tired of visiting. It's the Canadian Warplane Heritage Museum, home to so many historical aircraft, including what's behind us, the legendary Avro Lancaster, nicknamed Vera. So I have been super lucky to ride in the Lanc a couple of times, including a flyover at a Ticats game. It is only one of 2 Lancasters that are still flying in the world. And when you have such a historical plane, you get other aircraft that have also fought during wartime coming to visit. One such visit was from the American B-29 Super Fortress, affectionately called Fifi. Welcome inside the B-29 Super Fortress. She is known as Fifi, and we are in the air right now, right over top of Lake St. Clair, making our way back to Hamilton. Here with Phil, the flight engineer. Once again, that takeoff, what an experience, Phil.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. How long have you been flight engineer?
Been with the squadron about 4 years, been flight engineer for about 3.5 of that.
Let's talk about some of the inner workings of the B-29. The cockpit stands out first, and the design of the cockpit.
The primary reason for the shape and the design of the cockpit is this is our first pressurized airplane. So they literally needed to make it a tube and keep it as strong as possible without having to pop up cockpit area that you're used to seeing. So that was the primary driver for the shape that you see.
Some people might be familiar with the look of this cockpit too, from a certain movie.
I think that anybody that has seen Star Wars probably recognizes this. Yes, I think
the Millennium Falcon.
Yep.
Yeah, very similar. This plane is almost 70 years old.
Yep. She went into service just before the end of the war, actually, in 1945.
How does a plane that's that old, that flies so well, handle so well after all these years?
Well, she was a good handling airplane when they built her, and she's got a fantastic maintenance program.
How often do you put yourself in a position of thinking that the flight crew at that time of wartime, they'd be 19?
Every time I touch the airplane, see the airplane, sit in the airplane, I can't help but think about those guys. Just an amazing experience.
And you do this in kind of in honor of them?
Absolutely. Not only the guys that flew the airplanes, but the guys and gals that were at home building the airplanes and supporting the war effort. This is for everybody, right? Everybody that was involved.
We're coming back into Hamilton. We'll see how the landing goes. Oh man, that was fantastic. Fifi, you were good to us. So we always love taking Rollin With Bolen on the road or in the air. We're hopping a flight, heading south to the Florida Keys, taking in the sights, the beauty, and the tasty eats. How is the lobster different down south than, let's say, up north?
You know, they don't have claws, primarily, right? It's a sweeter meat, in my opinion. It also is a little sensitive to overcooking. It tends to get tougher than Maine lobster if you hammer it a little bit, you know? But it's real delicate, real delicious, like a big shrimp.
Nice. Okay, what are these big things?
These are beautiful jumbo stone crab claws from right offshore here.
Right in Murata Bay.
So right now it's stone crab season, 100 yards offshore, you can go to town on it. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna crack them with a spoon.
Okay.
So what you wanna do is you wanna turn it over, hold it, and then just whack that backside of the crab. Hold that claw.
Whoa, hey, oh.
There you go, see, that's all it is. You don't need a cracker, you don't need nothing like that. And there you go, just beautiful, succulent Florida crab meat. Give it a dip and a try. If that doesn't taste like Florida, I don't know what does.
We got to do something really cool, Big Shark Tank. Right?
Big Shark Bay kind of,
Big Shark Bay, okay, and these are different sharks though.
Right, these are nurse sharks. Unlike the sharks we have in our predator reef tank, which are sandbar sharks, black tip and black nose sharks, those sharks breathe using what's called ram ventilation. They have to keep swimming to breathe. Nurse sharks utilize the same thing that stingrays do. they actually can sit on the bottom and continue to breathe just like a stingray.
Well, it was so cool to be able to feed them and then touch them. Getting here, it was spectacular because you get to go over what's known as the 7 Mile Bridge, which is one of the longest segmented bridges in the world. And then when you get here, a must-do is you must grab a kayak, you must grab a paddle, and you must grab a captain. We got the captain right here beside us.
There we go.
Captain Bill, how are you, man?
Doing good. Great day, huh?
Oh, fabulous. Thanks for having us out here.
Most of the islands that you see when you drive over the overseas highway and you look out on the horizon are all little green emerald shapes that are comprised of red mangrove, black mangrove, and other salt-tolerant species.
So they can only grow in salt water.
That's right, they're salt-tolerant species, so they thrive in the salt water because there's no competition from any other plants.
When you get into this little creek within the mangroves, you don't need your kayaking skills because you can just be it's so narrow, you can kind of explore it yourself.
Yeah, it's a really intricate experience and up close, getting into those little creeks where you can kind of pull yourself through. You really get a feeling of intimacy in there, and surrounded by that greenery is just an awesome feeling.
And it's not man-made, it's just been created over time.
That's correct, yeah. These were tidal creeks that slowly have been encroached upon by the mangroves on either side. That's kept open by the tides twice a day, running in and out. So that scours that little creek area and just brings food, groceries, and everything that the critters need.
We saw a tree crab, which was so neat to see up close and personal because there's lots of them in there. They're not dangerous. They look like tarantulas, but they're okay. Right?
They're kind of creepy looking, but they're pretty chill. And I've read they spent their entire life on one tree. That's their home. That's their habitat. That's their world.
Wow. I can see why you love it. I can see why you stay.
Sunset Mallory Square Pier, Key West, Florida.
Every single night.
Every single night.
This is packed.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, look at all these folks here.
Right? And
45 minutes ago, no one.
Nobody. And they all come to see that beautiful sunset. Well, there's a lot of history there. Heck, there's a lot of history here. B-25 Mitchell. Huge shout out to the Canadian Warplane Heritage Museum for always answering our calls. We're taking a break. Next up, hopping the rails and heading to Northern Ontario. Well, on to the trains. And this is the Agawa Canyon train tour that is world famous and has visitors flocking from all over the world to Sault Ste. Marie each and every fall to take in the tour and enjoy the beauty that is Northern Ontario. This one might not be as big, but it's still pretty cool. Golden Horseshoe live steamers here at the Hamilton Museum of Steam and Technology, and they give out free rides every second Sunday because there's something special about going for a train ride, specifically taking a train ride through Northern Ontario and to the Gateway of the West. Sits right on the biggest of the Great Lakes, Superior. It's Thunder Bay. Let's do it, Russ. Coming to Thunder Bay, you need to experience Superior.
You do. I mean, that's the call. Everybody's coming. So I want to put my foot in the lake, or I want to be at the lake, or I want to sail out in the lake. It's one of those bucket lists. You've been on the biggest, the best, the greatest of the lakes, Lake Superior. Yes.
Because what is so great about Superior besides how big it is?
Well, it's the bigness, but it's that type of thing. It's like there's a mystery to it. Okay, you all know the ship, the Edmund Fitzgerald, and the song that sort of gives a little bit of mystery across the way.
So just beyond the ship there, that's Sleeping Giant.
That's the Sleeping Giant. Yes, and it's an icon of Thunder Bay. It's the highest cliffs in Ontario. It's a provincial park. There's all kinds of things to do out there: hiking and climbing and camping and trails, like trails and trails. But it's a place of sort of mystery. So why is this form like that in the middle of the lake? And so there's a whole geology behind it. You know, it's volcanic and layers and stratas, and the glaciers that came through and scraped the lake and dropped the water. I mean, there's a big history of the lake.
Why is it so great to sail on?
It's great to sail on for a couple of reasons. One is that it's so large that you have microclimates all the way around. So you might have a day like today where we see, look, there's no waves, and the sun is shining and everybody's in t-shirts. Then you turn around and the waves and the winds come from a different direction. Now you've got big water sailing. So you can come out there and learn as a beginner, or you can come and challenge yourself as a you know, an advanced sailor and go, you know what, I'm still going to learn something as I come out today.
How key is this breakwall for Thunder Bay?
The breakwall behind us was started in about 1910, and it took them 30-40 years to build. And it's key because the lake itself can be rough. And when it is, and it brings the waves into town, anything you built, infrastructure for shipping and for, would have been destroyed, all the marinas and everything else. So building the breakwall protected the harbor from the water. So in the beginning, we would have had Fort William, which is the city. Thunder Bay is made up of Fort William and Port Arthur, right?
Yeah.
Well, and so they had the rivers, and so there was a lot of commerce up the rivers because you could get protection. It's like, well, we need to build this section of the lake. As soon as they built this section of the breakwall and protected this harbor, Thunder Bay just sort of blew up. Two cities competing against each other, and so now we're a thing.
I learned so much on that short sail with Dave about Thunder Bay, and I guess, I don't know, that's what makes this job so cool. Much like going for a ride in the Golden Horseshoe Live Steamers as our train tour continues of Northern Ontario as we check out the Big Nickel.
Morning, everybody. Goodness, this nickel is heavy.
It's the Big Nickel, meaning we are in Sudbury. We're now at the second largest science center in all of Canada. This is Science North. Sudbury is built on rock.
It is a lot of rock in Sudbury, yes.
So this had to be blasted out?
Yes, yeah. So the tunnel was built as like an entrance into another world, into the Science Center.
Why is Science North so cool?
Science North is so cool because we get to share our passion, and we're very, very passionate about science and inspiring people to love the science in their everyday life. I think you definitely need to try out the gyroscope.
Okay, what's the gyroscope,
So
Megan?
the gyroscope is how we train, or not we, but how they train astronauts to get used to being in space.
Oh, really? So it will give me that feeling?
Should give you that feeling, yeah.
You only touch the blue bars.
Only the blue bars?
Leave the gray ones, you will be losing all your fingers.
Not ideal.
The bars above you, they're gonna help you go. You're just gonna swing yourself forwards and backwards like a swing set.
Okay.
If you wanna stop, you're gonna hold on to these ring bars like this, and just let me know, I can stop you anytime.
Okay, ready to go? All right.
3, 2,
Okay. Okay, Karen. All right. Sometimes I don't know how our adventures are going to play out, and the gyroscope was definitely qualified for that. Our train ride, it continues. We're going further south, though, because you can't beat the beauty of Muskoka, but sometimes you get bogged down. You check in with Muskoka Lakes Farm and Winery.
Is this how cranberries are grown in water like this?
No, not at all. Cranberries are actually a terrestrial plant. They grow dry. We keep about a foot or two of drainage during the growing seasons. They do grow in a bog, so that it's a wetland.
Bogs all around.
Yeah, so you see bogs around us, and they're cropped like an orchard or a vineyard. You plant them. It takes about 5 years to establish it, and then they come up every summer. They bloom in the summer, and they can't be flooded for any length of time during the summer. But in the spring and the fall, and over the winter, they can be flooded for weeks at a time, and it doesn't seem to hurt the plants. The plants have the ability, when they're dormant, to be flooded for periods of time. So growers took the advantage of flooding them for frost protection and discovered that it was way easier to harvest them this way. So that's the way we harvest them now.
Does it affect because you can dry harvest them too. Does it affect the taste or what you can do with them?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't at all. The only thing we have to do is when we wet harvest, we try to get them in the freezer within a couple days because they may not last in a grocery store.
What are you doing with it? You're doing so much with all these cranberries, right?
Yeah. We originally we started with sauce, and my mother was cooking it in the kitchen, and we were selling that, and we'd get a company to help process the juice and bottle it, and then about 20 years ago we got into the wine business, and that's been very successful for us. So we make wine and cider out of the cranberries, and we sell them in the LCBO.
What do they taste like?
Oh, they're good. They're good. You should try one. Yeah.
Yeah, they're delicious.
No, it's the only way to have them.
That's tart. People can come and do this, take the plunge like we're doing now.
Oh yeah,
Right?
yeah.
The best thing is to book a spot through,
Yeah, you have
through
to
you guys?
book it online. Cranberry.ca is our website, and yeah, we have bookings all through the weekends and during the week, and yeah, it's a fun event, and people come here and by the hordes and just love it.
We'll be back.
3, 2, 1. Woo! All right. Yeah. Okay, that's not allowed.
I always seem to be breaking one rule or another. Although I've been behaving with my pal Russ here, the Golden Horseshoe Live Steamers. Heck, I haven't even lost my train of thought. Too easy. Taking a break. Next up, we're going to the Forest City. Checking in at something called The Factory. Welcome back to Rollin with Bolen. So we've done the planes, we've done the trains, now on to the automobile. Like this beauty, 1954 Ford F100. This baby will get us places. Like, let's go visit our friends in London, down the 403 and 401 to the biggest indoor family entertainment complex you've never heard of. It's called The Factory, and it's located in the old Kellogg's factory, and it's serialized fun. But before we get into the factory, 100 Kellogg Lane is pretty special in the city of London.
It is. It was the Kellogg's facility for 110 years here. So it closed in 2014. It left a huge hole in the city's heart of what's going to happen with this property and all these people that lost their job. And the building sat vacant for 2 years, and 2 local families decided to purchase the property and had a vision of what they wanted to do and kind of turn it into what we know today as Canada's largest indoor entertainment complex.
How big is the whole space?
1 million square feet.
The factory. This is what we're looking at right now.
Yeah, so this is the anchor for 100 Kellogg. We first opened this in 2018, but in here you have the world's largest indoor ropes course, 75 feet tall. It's got 5 different levels.
That's over here? That's this here?
Yeah, you can zip line across to the other side of the park.
From one to the other?
And then you got to commit to the zip lining because you got to zip line back from that side.
Ready, set, go. Nice one, Gabe. Pippa, your turn. Go for it. Good one, Pippa. All right, Dad's turn. Woo. Ooh. Stuff is harder as you get older. Was this the factory floor? Is that what this area used to be?
This one was. So there was 4 huge cylinders in here. They did the Raisin Bran in here. They did the coating for the Frosted Flakes. The coating itself that would go on Fruit Loops.
We've all eaten
and
cereal,
Fruit Loops. Yeah.
Right? Any of that cereal that we would have eaten up until 2014 would have came from here.
From here, yeah.
Amazing. What is this course, Luca?
This is our Ninja Warrior course. Just one of the things on the Hero Room floor here. I challenge any person who thinks they are of top-notch strength and stamina to come and go against somebody and race to the end for this one. Just when you think you're physically fit, you go through this and you're like, I can't.
Glad you're using that because that's what I thought.
Yeah.
And then I went up against our good buddy Kevin Forget from Destination Ontario, his son, who's 13, and he destroyed me.
We see it all the time. Like, kids weigh nothing. So when an adult, it is literally all upper body, but it's a great strenuous workout.
But having something like this, and with the American Ninja Warrior, that program, and it really puts people
close.
Puts people to the test. Our core viewership is around the Horseshoe, making the trek to London. We drove here. It wasn't that far.
No.
It was like an hour and a bit to come here for the day. How cool is that space? Almost as cool as this ride. Look at this thing. Audi e-tron GT. This will get you where you're going. So let's hit the highway as we take flights with iFly. So what's the first kind of...
The initial thing you want to do when you get in there is just be nice and relaxed. But you want to go in with a hip forward position, okay? Hands out in front of you.
Right.
Cool. Chin up a little bit, and then legs slightly bent.
Slightly bent?
Awesome, exactly that.
So that's... But what's the, like, how strong is the wind in there?
It's pretty strong. It's going to be like 150 kilometers an hour probably.
So what's What's that going to be doing to my hands and my feet? So it's going to be throwing it all around.
Might be forcing them up a little bit, but you just need to be nice and relaxed, stay super still.
Right.
Some of the hand signals, you can do, if you see this.
Okay, so that is bending my knees.
Yeah, awesome.
Okay.
What about this one?
That's
chin up a little bit.
Okay.
Also, if you see this one.
That's
relax a little bit. Breathe.
Let's do it. Yeah! From high in the sky to floating down the lazy river, let's keep things moving, just like the Grand River, easily accessible by any road in my brand new ride. And when you get there, Grand River Rafting's got you covered. Woohoo!
Woohoo!
Yes!
Woo!
We're on the Grand! Trying to keep it together!
Yep, we're.
I'm trying to catch up to you, Tara. This is Tara, everybody, my guide here with Grand River Rafting. How are you?
Good.
What's happening?
Good day to be on the river.
Oh no, bumper boats! Never been on the Grand River before.
Oh wow, welcome.
Right? I can see why people love it. What do you love about it so much?
Well, I'm a water person. I love this, and I grew up here, and a lot of people who come down the river, and this is their backyard, and they've never been before. It is a really honoring experience, and I love the nature. Like right now, you wouldn't know that we're in Southern Ontario.
We made it onto the beast with my crew. Captain Tag. Are you the captain in the front, or is it Andrew in the back?
Andrew is the captain in the back right now. Usually that's the person, but on the Super Sup here, the front person can help out quite a bit with the steering. It really is a team effort.
Okay, tell me about the beast.
Well, the beast is an 18-foot paddleboard that can fit 10 people and maybe a few more if you have kids.
What's the least amount that you want on here?
4.
Okay, right.
Maybe 3. Now really, what makes this thing nice is it's like a floating dock down the water. It's nice and flat. You know, we can stand on this thing and start rocking it around. And you know, it wants to stay flat. It's kind of like feels like you're on a floating dock or something. That's one of the nicest things about the Grand, is that it's a river that is a skill level that we're comfortable sending beginners out in by themselves.
Well, that does it for another episode of Rollin With Bolen. Big shout out, Audi Hamilton, for trusting me driving this car. If you know a spot in Hamilton, Halton, Niagara you want us to check out, Rollin With Bolen at CACH.com. Give us a shout. See you next time. You'll never catch me, comers!
Once again, we get another complaint about a loudmouth being inside Bayfront Park. I got no reason to believe that it's...
How could that be... Constable, how could that be me?
It's becoming a regular habit with you. Let's go to the car.
How can I hold my mic?
We're going to the car, mister.
Oh, you're putting me right in there?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, no, they're taking the mic away from me. No, what?
Off to Central. Thank you, Kim.
Bye!